Hello, everyone. I'm Miriam Ortiz y Pino, certified professional organizer and simplicity expert, and I'm here with another Q&A. This time we are a couple minutes late. I apologize. Always a little bit technical on the Q&A ones. I'm not really sure why, but here we are, and I've got some questions that people have been submitting all day. I'll be here for about the next half hour, so if you have questions or have friends want to tell them about this, that would be great. I just realized I want to try something real quick as the audience is building here. I want to make sure. Something seems a little funky. I guess that's fine. Okay. Hello, welcome to the new people glancing at this. Let's see. There's always so many things to look at. All right. I have my question over here in the Evernote. I don't recommend being this disorganized when you start things, but when I realized that I need to wait a few minutes to get people on the video, I stopped being quite ready when I hit start. And so you're learning with me. We're learning how to fill this beginning time. But anyway, let's get started. I've got to just change to one page over here so that I can see when questions come in on the phone. If you have a question, type it below in the comments and I will be able to see it. Perfect. Okay, so the first question today comes from Michelle. And she typed a bunch of comments actually, but I think there's a question floating around in there somewhere. So let me just read it. How do I get truly organized in an easy, no-stress manner when it comes to advertising? I have a home office and try to do all my computer stuff at home, and then I go to the office for the hands-on. I'm constantly missing a piece. Further, I've tried calendars and alarms set on the phone, but my schedule right now is in constant flux with no time for myself. Okay, so I happen to know Michelle is actually a massage therapist and runs a space with workshop space, so she's trying to get the word out about how you can contact her to get space and set up workshops. So there's a lot of phone calls, there's a lot of this advertising, there's a lot of promo stuff that she's doing, and it's kind of a combination, old school and hands-on, the internet and social media and stuff. So what she doesn't have is a strategy for what her overall week would look like. So she wants to have an actual time map of what she's going to work on when. And there's a lot of information about this actually over on my website, morethanorganized.net /streamlined solutions. Has the stuff about Streamlined Time Solution Kit. No, it's just the Streamlined Time Solution. And it's a online course, has everything you need to know about how to use time blocks. But the basic concept is you do an inventory of what you need to get done every week. And you list those out. And then you put together a thing of, or a time map, if you will, like a ideal schedule and an actual schedule, and then you merge the two. And so you start doing more of what you want to be doing and less of what you don't want to be doing. And so you're filtering into your time and your week the stuff from that task inventory that hasn't been getting done or has felt stressful. For instance, for me, I do a combination of just kind of afternoon and mornings. So AM, PM. Mornings, I work on what? I work on my administrative details. So I have kind of a string of 6 5 or 6 things that I do every single day, and it's become a routine. I just make sure I do those every day. So I check email, I make some phone calls, I check my money and do my money tracking. I do a little bit of marketing, and I do some reaching out to past clients. So those are things that I do just regularly and consistently every day. And then I have a time block of things that I need to do that day because it's that theme. So Mondays are money, and Tuesdays are learning and coaching, and Wednesdays are clients and email marketing, and Thursdays are writing and project, and Fridays are kind of catch up time. But every single day I have time for clients and I have time for my administrative work, and I've just kind of mapped it out. Let's see if I can even hold this up. Oh, I'll do it this way, silly me. I have a calendar here, and it's kind of my ideal schedule, and it just has a little bit of blocked off time. So I have morning stuff, and then morning stuff and afternoon stuff and evening stuff, and it's a little bit of what I work on every day. And so when I have a need to work, I know when to schedule them. I just stick them into the time block that says client time. And then when I have to do a marketing meeting, I just know that it's in the marketing time. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not explaining very well today for some reason. I apologize for the crazy answer. But really, you are in charge of the schedule. So when you have a schedule that's constantly in flux, it's because you haven't defined what time certain tasks happen at. So just think of it in terms of category of tasks. I'm going to be working on marketing. I'm going to do my email once a week, and it's going to be on this day and time, and I have to write it first and then prep it and then send it. Do blocks of time where you make phone calls one after the other. That kind of thing can really, really help. Say you're only going to work with clients on afternoons on Tuesdays and Thursdays and mornings on Wednesdays and Fridays. Whatever that looks like to you, you get to pick. So that's the first thing I would say, Michelle, is come up with some time blocks so that you give yourself enough time to finish the work you're doing at your house, and then kind of wrap it up and then go to the office. So other things that if you're leaving stuff at the wrong location, you might want to start with some checklists about what you take with you, or have a mobile office so that everything goes with you every time. I know you have a desktop, but you might want to invest in a laptop soon, or at least get a bin with all the files that you use so you can carry it back and forth in the car when you go. And then it doesn't matter where the office is, you have all of the things you actually need to do it. I can run my entire business out of my laptop bag if I need to. And I just have the 4 different categories of things that I take with me if that was an emergency. If there was a fire or something and I had to evacuate, I would just grab all that and I would have my office to go anywhere. Okay, let me just review the question, make sure I got all your key points. Okay, so part of your always setting calendars and alarms and things and it not quite working is when you set these time blocks up, you really do need to factor in enough time to learn the new habit. So when you start working on routines, you have to attach it to something else you're already doing. So for instance, I have my morning routine. I've had it for years. I get up, I do some journaling, I do some yoga, I feed the cats, I make some coffee, I do some vision board meditation, and then I go for a walk. And then I come home and I shower and get ready for my day. So I have a certain amount of things that I do all the time, and then I add my work routine right after that. So I get out of the shower, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, and then I go to my desk. And the first 3 things I do at my desk are double check, triage email, review my calendar, and prep for any clients I have that day. And then I do my money tracking, and then I answer the emails, and then I answer some social media stuff. And so I do those same things in the same order all the time. And so now it's habit. And if I have a particularly busy day and I have to squish it sometimes I do a little bit less time on each section, but pretty much I set my alarm. I actually use the timer and set it for 20-minute increments. So it's kind of the Pomodoro technique. 20 minutes email, 20 minutes money, 20 minutes phone calls, 20 minutes, whatever your time blocks are. Now, if it's something a little more deep work, like writing a blog post or something, it's usually more than 20 minutes. It's usually 40 to 90. And so I still set the clock for 20-minute increments and check in with myself, make sure I'm still in a good place, make sure I'm not getting antsy or haven't gotten off track. So it helps bring my attention back to what I was trying to focus on. Okay? So I hope that helps. It's kind of a layering thing. You create the time blocks, you fill them with the tasks that need to get done that week, and then you create the habits to make sure that you're consistent with doing that stuff. That should help. Let me know if you have any more questions, follow up. We can follow up in May. But in the meantime, check out the Streamlined Time Solution at morethanorganized.net, the Streamlined Solutions, or under the Services tab, you'll see it there. Okay, next question. This is an old one, but it recently came up again, so I wanted to, and it kind of ties in with the same thing, so I wanted to go over it. Because it's about habits. How can I best break my bad habit of piling things up on my desk and getting somewhat overwhelmed by them? This is from Jenna Avery, who is a fabulous writing coach and a past client. And we created her whole office setup and systems for workflow, but she still had the tendency to set a pile up as she was working on it and then not fix it by the end of the day. And so then she'd get to the desk the next day and be a little bit overwhelmed again. So what you want to do is think of your desk and your workspace as workspace and pretend you're working at Starbucks even when you're at your house. And so you need to clean it up when you leave, right? So at the end of the day, you need to reset your desk so it's good for the next day. So the first thing is, if you actually have a place for things to live, it becomes much easier to work on something for a minute and then put it away and then work on the next thing. So when you have time blocks, it becomes easier too because you're working on a certain grouping of tasks. So when I work on my money tracking, I have my money basket. And all the stuff in there is my money system. That's my whole money system. I run my business and my personal life. That one letter tray full of money stuff. And so I can take the stuff off of that, pull it out in front of the computer, work on it, and then put it back in the tray and put it away. When I'm doing coaching calls, I have the other basket full of stuff. It's a little pile that I use when I'm on coaching calls and with the questions and the major tools that I use when I do coaching calls. So that's all right there. I can pull it out and then it goes right back into its slot. So it's handy. When I'm, reviewing my calendar, I have my calendar right here. I pull it out, I review it, I put it back where it goes right after I'm done. I have, the phone calls I need to make right here, put them right back. So you can pull and spread stuff out. I wish I could show you this more easily. It's hard with the laptop. There's a bunch of piles around my desk. And that's because I'm working right now. When I'm done working, I will put them away. But the piles are defined. They are categorized. They have purpose. And so things come out, they get worked on, they get put away. It's like kindergarten. You put it back when you're done playing with that thing. So think of it that way. Try to compartmentalize that it's working on and then putting it away. The one thing with putting away, it is harder to do when it's a project. So make sure you schedule some time. For me, it's Fridays, and so I just finished a project on Tuesday, and it hasn't gone away yet because it's still on my desk for the last step, which is merging. And that's one of the things that people tend to not quite have set the time aside to do, and that's to review and incorporate any new stuff you want to for the next time you run the project, or if it needs to get integrated into a different project, or if all the materials just need to be returned to their resource/reference place in your office. So make sure you have time to do that review and merging and putting away of the project materials. Don't just take the whole project, because when we're done with the project, we tend to be tired and you scoop everything up and then you just set it aside. You really want to have a little bit of time to reintegrate it into the rest of your office. So make sure you set aside some time to do that. I do that on Fridays. That's why it's still on my desk, but it's just from Tuesday till Friday, and then it will go away. Okay, so habits too. Along with that, you need to break the bad habit by overriding it with the new habit. And to write a better new habit, you need to know what you're trying to accomplish, what the desired outcome is. You need to think through the steps and kind of envision possible obstacles to getting it done, so that you can do a little bit of scenario planning. If I don't have time on Friday to merge the file, what am I going to do? What's my backup plan? What's plan A, B, C, and D? Can you attach the routine to something that already exists? If I'm doing my 5 things that I do every morning on Fridays, the email, the calls, the money, the marketing, and the social media, can I then add the next segment of time just to be my reintegrating of everything from my desk? Can that be the next thing I do, so that it's attached to something? You have to set up a reward ahead of time. So if you complete it a certain number of times, you get a reward. Or if you reach a certain milestone, you get a reward. So you want to reward the habit formation, not necessarily the completion of a task. You don't want to give yourself a reward just because you put the file away today. You want to give yourself a reward because you put the file away every week for the next 3 weeks. I hope that helps. So know what you're doing, what you want the outcome to be, attach it to something else, plan for the obstacles, create a reward, and then you just practice, and do not give up. So kind of along the lines of Michelle's question as well, when you don't overcome the bad habit and the alarm goes off and you ignore it, or you still don't have the thing when you get to the other office, or when the file's still on your desk, you don't give up and say, I must need a new system. You say, I'm still learning. I need to practice some more. I'm going to recommit to doing this thing. You may need to beef up the reward so that you have something to work towards. You may need to look at what was the obstacle and how can you better overcome it next time. Sometimes, this morning I was working with a client and we were in her kids' room and we had stuff all over the bed and her small dog kept jumping on the bed and we had to let the dog out, but we had to leave sometimes and the dog would sneak in and we had to start over all the time. So if you have a dog that's your problem, make sure you create something like a crate or a room that you can work in without the dog interrupting the process, if that makes sense. So just plan ahead and practice. There is no set time that the habit will form. So you just have to keep practicing and stick with it. You have to think about it while you're learning it, and you have to think about it, and that's why you have the cue, and that's why you have the reward, and you practice. And eventually it will become unconscious behavior and you'll just do it, and you'll miss it when you don't do it. All right, let me just log in real quick. I'm gonna have a sip of water too. See if anyone's got some questions. Oh, we've got a little lag time. Stop. Pause. All right. No questions came in that I can see, but there's always a lag time, so I'll check again before we're done. But I've got about 10 more minutes. So if you want to tell your friends to join, that would be great. If you want to see what else is happening, that would be good as well. Let's just double check this, make sure we're good, see what's happening. I want to make sure I get any live questions before I move back to some that were done before. Yep, we're good. All right. So this question, another question from Marsha. And I think it's along the same lines. Let's see. Let's say you're caught up, papers are filed, kitchen counter, coffee table, nightstand, and everything else is clear of work paper and stuff. And in general, everything is in its place. And your system and clutter control is working well. Then you get to one of those weeks where each day is system overload. Either you're not home for most of the day, something urgent comes up and you have an emergency, and as a result, the kitchen counter is now drowning in paper. The coffee table looks like it drowned. And you get the picture. Then after 5 days of crisis or whatever has passed, and you need to tackle the backup mess, what's the best approach to take to get back to pre-crisis, pre-inundation mode? What a good question. And this is one of my favorite ones to answer because once you have your system set up, the reset is so much faster than you think. So in the olden days, before you had a system, it might take you several hours to recover from a week like that. But when you do have a system, you can recuperate so much faster because you know where things go. The questions are already answered. And so it's a matter of returning things to where they belong and maybe making a few decisions that you've been practicing as you set up the systems. And so you know a lot easier what the question or the decision will be. And so that's easier too. So this just happened, I guess it was last week. I was working with a client who we've recently set up most of their house. We just have 1 or 2 rooms left. And they had a family emergency. The kids all had the flu, and then they went on spring break and went on a trip in their RV. And so everything came back out of the RV for getting washed and cleaned up, and all the extra food was there, and they hadn't quite finished all the laundry before they left because of the kids being sick. And so she was feeling quite overwhelmed when I arrived, and there was stuff all over the kitchen counter, all over the couch, and there was stuff all over the kids' play work table. And so we just spent a little bit of time resetting the place. And she's like, oh, I don't want it to take all session. I want to move forward on some other stuff. And I'm like, no, this is good because we need to practice how you do this. You need to develop the habit of resetting when you get back from one of these RV trips. So it took us about 20 minutes to methodically go through the papers on the kitchen counter, and then we cleaned off the island, and then we put all the extra food away in the pantry, and we regathered like things together in the pantry, and then we put all the art supplies back where they belonged, and put all the laundry in the laundry room into sorted piles. And, it took us literally 20 minutes, and she thought it might take us 3 hours. And so that was such a relief to her to know that it wasn't really as overwhelming as she originally thought it would be. And it was all because the systems were already there. She knew where to put things away. Granted, I was there helping to direct it, but I wanted her to see how fast the reset could be. So we did it together, and that was fun. So she can do that with her kids the next time. She can start pulling them into the process, or her husband, and make it fun, but not overwhelming. It turns out 90% of being organized is mental. And the mental piece is knowing what to do, what you have and where it goes, and why you have it in the first place. And so once you know those things, it becomes so much less overwhelming. Organized people aren't perfect. We do not think that everything needs to be hidden away and never used. It's just that we know we can recover quickly when something urgent does come up. So the prioritization piece of it, it's not as panicked. Oh my gosh, I'm always in urgent mode. It's a considered thing. And then even if we pick the urgent thing, we know we can recover quickly because the systems are in place. That's why you want to set up the systems as soon as you possibly can, because they help you recover when life gets in the way. And it always does. Nothing runs smooth all of the time. So that was a great question, Marcia. Marcia asks the best questions. That's why I have one from her almost every week or every month. Ooh, reminder, morethanorganized.net, lots of free resources. We do this Q&A session on the second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 Pacific. I'm on for about half an hour. You can always submit your questions at any point on the Facebook page. You can tweet me, MOYPMTO, on Twitter and Instagram. You can email me or sign up for the newsletter and just hit reply to one of the newsletters or the emails that I send you. All the freebies and stuff are at morethanorganized.net. And also you can see past editions of the Q&A sessions over at the YouTube channel. It's More Than Organized over at YouTube. That's it. I hope to get more questions from you next time. I don't have a whole lot more time, so the other question I got is pretty in-depth, so I'm going to hold it for next time. But, this one kind of is a quicker one, and it builds on what I just said. So this is a question, I don't know who this is from. It's from a while back. I apologize. Hopefully you will see this and get your answer. Can you please tell us how you know where to start? Turns out it doesn't matter where you start as long as you keep moving forward methodically when you go begin an organizing process. However, in my opinion, starting in one of the two rooms that affects you every day is a great place to start, because you will then be motivated because you see the progress right away and you're more likely to move forward with it. So if you are an entrepreneur and working from home, you might want to go ahead and start in your home office. But I actually think you're better off working in a slightly messy place, but having some of the backbone of what's going on in order. So either the kitchen or your master bedroom suite, which would include the bathroom and the closet, because those affect you every day. And if you get to your office and you're already overwhelmed and frustrated because you couldn't find the spoon for your cereal and you couldn't find the right pair of shoes or a shirt, you're going to be frustrated when you even get to the office. So I would start with one of those, and then you work methodically around the room. I typically start on the right of the door and work around, although it depends where the door is on the wall. I sometimes go left around the room to the right, but I always start with the center. So, and that is so you're not tripping over stuff while you're working on it. So I always clear the floor first so that you're not tripping and it's a safe environment to work in. And then just one area at a time. If you have to break it down into small sessions, do like one bookcase, one dresser, one segment of the wall, one segment of the floor, to the left of the bed, to the right of the bed, however you want to break it up, but some sort of defined area, and work on that and do your sorting and then purging and then returning the things you're keeping and taking the other stuff away. And that way you continue to move forward and maintain it and honor what you've already worked on. So if you've cleared off the dresser and then 2 days from now you end up with a bunch of stuff you're not sure what to do with, don't put it on the dresser. Put it in a box that's, I don't know what to do with these things, so that box can move with you from room to room or around the room until you do know what to do. And you don't have to get hung up on it. All right. I hope that helps. Doesn't matter where you start, just start. But try to do one of the places that affects you every day. Master bedroom, kitchen, then your home office. Okay, thanks. Don't forget, morethanorganized.net, and check out the YouTube channel. Send me your questions for next month, and I will see you on May. I can't see my calendar from where I'm at. May 12th will be the next edition of the Q&A session. So thanks for coming. Take care. And, I don't think I recorded this. Well, that's okay. I've got the backup recording because I have a system. All right. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.